My name is Mike Rosenthal. I'm a Southwest graduate, class of 1975. I'm the president of our Hall of Fame, and it's my pleasure to welcome you here tonight to Southwest High School. As they pack up in the back of the room, please give a nice round of applause to members of the Southwest Jazz Band and their director, Mr. Nelson Roque. One of our feeder middle schools, Riviera, discontinued their band program this year, and Mr. Roque has volunteered his time after school to incorporate the members of the Riviera program into the Southwest Band program. He epitomizes the kind of teachers we are lucky enough to have here at Southwest High. Also, a thank you to Coach Hemingway and the Southwest cheerleaders who helped guide you to the gym tonight after you parked your car along 50th. I would also like to introduce our past inductees who are in attendance tonight. From our first induction class in 2023 at Table 5, Martha Rodriguez Haragizar. From our second class in 2024, at Table 7, John Hammontree. At Table 13, Cheryl Golden. Most of you met her on the way in. She's not at Table 13, she's back by the buffet. And getting here in about an hour from that same induction class, Coach Mauricio Diaz, whose flight from Orlando landed short time ago. He's on his way here. From our third induction class last spring, at Table 7, Jim Kilty in the purple shirt. And at Table, well, not at Table 2, where's Tom Moore? Tom Moore's right next to Cheryl Golden in the back of the gym. A nice hand, please, for our returning Hall of Famers. The Hall of Fame committee is responsible for the selection of tonight's inductees and putting on this dinner. I would like to introduce my fellow committee members who are here. Our secretary is from the class of 1987 and is mostly responsible for decorating the gym and creating the beautiful frames that each inductee now has at their table and can take with them at the end of the evening. She makes Martha Stewart look like an amateur. Martha Rodriguez Haragizar. At Table 4, our treasurer from the class of 98, Larry Aguero. At Table 2, Angel Menendez, a former soccer coach and athletic director here. He is our committee's top fundraiser by far. Inductee Cheryl Golden is also one of our committee members. Our current athletic director and former head baseball coach at Table 3, George Diaz. From the class of 63, John Hammontree. From the class of 64, Jim Kilty. And from the class of 79, one of our newest committee members, Renee Prats, at Table 6. From the class of 87, we have Stephanie Nunez. She is responsible for the slideshow that's been playing during dinner, and you will hear from her later, as she is one of our Hall of Fame inductees tonight. We have a couple of table sponsors for our dinner tonight. We'd like to thank alumni Tom Murphy of Coastal Construction and Louis Mertz from the Mertz Law Group for sponsoring tables. If you'd like to be a sponsor of a table, see either Angel or I after the dinner tonight. The sponsors help make possible many of the things we're able to do after this dinner ends. For instance, the very sound system you are listening to me on tonight was donated by the Hall of Fame. We give 2 partial college scholarships each year to deserving Southwest seniors. We've made donations to the band, the cheerleaders, the drama program, and numerous athletic teams and booster clubs here at Southwest. So if you're so inclined, there is a page of QR codes in your program, and one of those QR codes enables you to make a donation to the Hall of Fame. We appreciate that. I would also like to acknowledge the Southwest head coaches in attendance here tonight, supporting the Hall of Fame. At table number 3, our head football coach, Anton Graham. Our girls cross country coach and pitching coach, J.C. Diaz. And coming soon, our boys volleyball coach, Mauricio Diaz. We have some former coaches I would like to acknowledge. At table 1, our former softball coach, Sandy Moultrie, returns to Southwest. Our former girls basketball coach, Donna Nieto Thomas, also at table 1. Our former football coach, Tim Neal, who won 2 district titles here at table 3. Sadly, he's now the head coach at American. Our head football coach from 1986 and 87 is back tonight at table 13. Dave Kendall took over a program that had won a combined 3 games over the previous 5 seasons and had multiple victories both years. I remember telling Dave that the alumni were so happy with the progress the football team made that we'd petition the county to have a street named after him. And to this day, Southwest 88th Street is still called Kendall Drive. Speaking of dignitaries, a 1991 graduate of Southwest returned to our school 31 years later as our principal. Without him, this Hall of Fame would not exist. He is fond of saying that when he got the call telling him he'd be moving from principal of Riviera Middle School to principal of Southwest, that he won the principal's lottery. I beg to differ. Southwest won the principal's lottery when he received that phone call. Proof of that is he was recently named the South Region's Principal of the Year, and he's one of 4 finalists for the county-wide award. I'm proud to introduce Miami-Dade's finest principal, Mr. George Bullness.
Thank you, Mike. A big good evening to everyone. My name is George Bullness, Mr. B, proud principal and alumnus of Southwest Senior High School. Southwest, to give you a State of the Union on Southwest, is right now extremely healthy. We're one of few, if any, high schools that right now has increased in enrollment. If you look at the last 3 years, from 3 years ago to now, 2,200 students to almost 2,600. We have an extremely healthy culture here at Southwest Senior High School because what we embody here is everyone matters. My mom was a cafeteria worker at Rockaway Elementary School, and she said to me, "Son, if you ever become a principal, remember that we are all human beings. Your custodians, your clerical, your security, your cafeteria staff. It shouldn't be about titles, it's about people, because every adult has an opportunity to make a difference in a child's life." And here at Southwest Senior High School, that culture that we have established has helped us increase to almost 2,600 kids. Also, at Southwest Senior High School, we have been ranked #1 in student attendance for the last 4 years. We have a 98.5% graduation rate. And it's moments like today that in my calendar, I always look forward to this evening. I tell my students that their time in school is temporary, but being an eagle is forever. And tonight, the inductees will etch their names in the history books of Southwest Senior High School forever. We congratulate you. We honor you. Even though I left my phone right there in the table, Andy Regalado, who's a science teacher here at Southwest Senior, good friend of Stephanie Nunez, class of 93. He just sent me a text message right now saying, Mr. B, our chess team, we've got 3 kids that are finalists in the chess team. He mentioned the 3, and I love receiving those text messages because Mauricio Diaz, who's going to be here in a minute, I get all these text messages at all times of our kids succeeding, whether it's chess, athletics, academics, and Southwest definitely is your best choice. So in closing, before I close, I wanted to quickly say thank you because yesterday, real quickly, yesterday I was here, and by the way, I'm sorry about the AC. It's being worked on as we speak. My zone mechanic is here. I said it was so cool in the morning. It'll be cool up and running in a few minutes. But yesterday when we were here, I saw Tom Moore, Angel Menendez, Stephanie Nunez was here, Martha J., of course, Mike Rosenthal, and so much planning takes place in order to make today a success. And just yesterday, Angel Menendez was here because Ozzy, a young man who's class of 97 who works with Telemundo, has donated so many cameras so we can get back on broadcasting. We have cosmetology that's opened up right now. We have a technology elective with digital design. So to individuals like Angel Menendez, individuals like Dr. Robert Saxton, I'm almost done. Dr. Robert Saxton was the Dean of Medicine at FIU, and he has been a partner with us. He's a class of 75. He's here with us today. Tom Murphy and I know we have a conversation with Coastal Construction where we're going to partner up. So I want to say thank you to all of you, and please extend a phone call or an email to me. And if you are interested in bridging your company, your business with our students, just like Dave Arbetter has done, just like Frankie's Pizza has done, we're more than willing and able to open up that door. In closing, I want to bring back up a gentleman, and let me tell you something about the gentleman that's to my left right now. Rain or shine, here at Southwest Senior High School, he is present in every, I don't know how he does it, but every single athletic event. If it were to snow here in Miami, like it does in those Buffalo games and Green Bay football games, I know he would be here if it was one of those heavy snow days. So I want to bring back up the gentleman who really brought and revitalized with the committee our Hall of Fame. Thank you again to Mr. Mike Rosenthal.
This is not an exaggeration. I had the honor of being our principal for the day earlier this school year and was able to shadow Mr. Bullness during his workday. As he mentioned, we have about 2,600 students here. As he walks through the halls, he knows them all by name. It's truly unbelievable with that many students, but it shows you the dedication he has to developing a personal connection with our student body. So this year, we are instituting a Order of the Golden Eagle to recognize alumni who have made special contributions to this school and its Hall of Fame. And I would like to, at this time, bring up our committee member, Angel Menendez, for a special presentation.
I was at Southwest for 19 years. And during that time, I taught and coached thousands of students and athletes, many of whom have now become my lifelong friends. In that time, I noticed a certain pattern, especially since I stayed in touch with them many years after graduation. And this is what I noticed. As a Southwest grad, however you were at 18, over the next 10, 20, 30, 40 years, you just became more so. The good kid became the good man or woman, a great spouse, a wonderful parent, and a successful adult. Such is the case with tonight's inductees. When they were asked to help, their response was immediate, unwavering, repeated, and generous support. They made good things happen. You heard Mike's list of the things that our committee has been able to accomplish. And they made good things happen for today's good kids, who in the future are going to become more so. These men don't seek limelight, but I believe everybody deserves an attaboy. So I am proud and honored to present the inaugural recipients of the Order of the Golden Eagle, my friends Tom Murphy and Louis Mertz.
Oh, boy. All right. Thank you. I'm without words. I'm truly without words. Pulling up, this is probably completely inappropriate, but I went ahead and pulled up in the American parking lot because that's where we parked when we were kids. I felt just at home. Being an Eagle is something that's super important to me. I've been able to come back here a couple dozen times to watch games, to watch my children, unfortunately, compete against the Eagles. And honestly, even though I was rooting on my own children, somewhere in my heart, I wanted the Eagles to win. So I can't say thank you enough to everyone that's here. This room continues to grow. Thank you, Angel. Thank you. Thank you very much from the bottom of my heart. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Tom is a great supporter of both my alma maters, Southwest and the University of Miami, where I believe there's an architecture building named in his honor. Before we begin handing out our awards, I have just a few more people to thank. Herf Jones, the company that provides class rings and school yearbooks, was kind enough to print our dinner programs tonight at no charge to us. From my fellow class of 75 alum, Matt Leone, from Leone Creative, a video production company, films our dinner each night for us at no charge and uploads it to YouTube. Thank you, Matt. Longtime science teacher Daryl Cunningham is our official photographer, and he comes out of retirement each year for this event. Arbetter's Hot Dogs donated appetizers tonight, and we were happy to have both Dave Arbetter, a great Southwest supporter, and his manager, John Angelica, a Southwest alum, here with us tonight. Dave's dad opened Arbetter's in 1959, and it's been serving Eagles in its current location on Bird Road since 1971, a true neighborhood institution. Speaking of neighborhood institutions, we'd also like to thank Frankie's Pizza, who donated our appetizers as well tonight. Frankie Pasquarella opened his pizza shop in 1955, and 2 years later, right after Southwest opened, he moved the store to Bird and 91st Avenue. Thank you to his daughters, Roxanne and Renee, two Southwest alums, for their continued support of the Eagles. Also, from the class of '87, multi-sport athlete Gina Williams, who is our caterer the last three events. She owns Licious, the home baked goods and catering, and provided all of the food that you enjoyed tonight with the exception of the garlic rolls and the eggplant parmesan, which came from Paolo Luigi Restaurant in Coconut Grove. Also thanks to Party Joe, who gave us the Southwest discount on the tables and chairs we rented because her husband is our boys basketball coach. So, before we begin the inductions, let me talk just a moment about how these selections are made. Our 16-member committee nominated many of those considered, but we also solicited nominations from the public through social media. In fact, if you would like to nominate someone for future induction into the hall, turn to the page in your program with all the QR codes and you'll find one of those QR codes will take you to our nomination page. We considered 32 nominees this year, 27 individuals and 5 teams. Our committee has a subscription to newspapers.com, so I'm able to research the accomplishments of the nominees. I shared this information with my fellow committee members in a 46-page document full of newspaper clippings. We then met weekly in the fall via Zoom until all 32 nominees were discussed. An anonymous vote was held in which committee members were prohibited from voting for themselves, and the result of that process is tonight's star-studded class of inductees. We typically induct our honorees chronologically, from oldest to youngest. We will probably take a break in the middle of the program when our volleyball people get here from Miami International Airport, or they're flying back from a tournament in Orlando. They have to go back tomorrow, so we're going to move them up in the program. But we'll start with the class of '64 and inductee Ivy Armstrong. Southwest has a storied history in the sport of baseball, with over 40 former Eagles going pro and 9 making it to the big leagues. But Ivy was the very first Eagle to sign a professional contract. As a senior, he batted .353 and was named first team All-County. An all-around athlete, Ivy was a defensive back and punter for the football team and a sharpshooting guard in basketball. He was the only unanimous selection to the 1964 American Legion All-Star team. Ivy went on to play baseball at Miami-Dade Junior College, where he was an honorable mention freshman All-American and first-team All-State. The Los Angeles Dodgers selected him in the second round of the January '66 amateur draft. He went on to play in the New York Penn League, where he was named Rookie of the Year. I direct your attention to our video screen as we remember the career of Ivy Armstrong. Ivy passed away in 2013, before this Hall of Fame existed, but here to accept his award tonight, traveling all the way from Kentucky with his brother, is Ivy's grandson, Hunter Boza.
It's truly an honor. It's truly an honor to accept this award on behalf of my grandfather. He would have been so proud and so grateful and deeply honored to have been here tonight alongside the other incredible honorees. My grandfather was a good man who taught me so much, and looking around this room and seeing how many people are here, and it's clear to me how he was loved by many and still is. And we often joked that although he supported me in most of my athletic adventures, none of them were baseball, and we had watched football, basketball, soccer, golf together, and just about everything except baseball. And he told me, I had asked him one time why he never taught me baseball, and he'd always said it really wasn't that fun unless he was the one playing it. And I recently learned he was very talented in track and field, and something I didn't know that growing up. And when I started running track, my grandmother said it reminded her of me, of him, and I guess maybe I did inherit some of that athletic genes. And but lastly, on behalf of our family, I would like to sincerely thank the Southwest Miami High School Hall of Fame for inducting my grandfather into their midst, and we are extremely proud and deeply grateful for this honor. Thank you very much.
Our second inductee is another baseball great from the class of '65, Terry Brumfield. Terry is the first member of the Hall of Fame to serve Southwest in 3 capacities: as a player, as a coach, and as an assistant principal. As a senior, Terry was a first-team All-County third baseman on a team that went 20-2. He went on to star at Miami-Dade Junior College and Southern Illinois University. While at SIU, he set NCAA postseason records for most homers in a game and most total bases in a game. Terry came back to Southwest as head baseball coach from 1979 to 1984. Some of his players are here tonight, winning 62% of his games, including a district championship in 1981. After concluding his coaching career at Coral Park, he returned home one final time, this time as assistant principal. I direct your attention to the video screen as we remember the great career of Terry Brumfield. Terry passed away in 2021, but we are fortunate enough tonight to have his son here to accept on his behalf. Please welcome Bobby Brumfield.
Wow. You get this whole thing scripted on the way here, and then you get up on the podium and just everything's gone. I want to take a moment to thank the committee for acknowledging my dad, keeping him to be given induction to the Hall of Fame this evening. Southwest is his passion, was his passion, coaching, playing, teaching, passion for his students, his ball players, everything. It's a home, it's a good dad, good wife, good husband, excuse me. Yeah. A lot of pressure up here, it's getting hot. I can't be more grateful tonight because my dad, he just when he was ill, some of his players sitting on the table tonight with his reached out. He traveled 2 hours north to help him just during the COVID, which was a very, very bad time of year. But anyways, Renee, thank you for keeping me in the loop and keeping me involved. The coaches and players that are sitting with us tonight, Coach Burnside, Coach Hurst, all these guys that just ring bells in the 70s when I played ball, and it's just a good feeling tonight. But I did have something planned to say, but we had to get up here. Thank you, everybody. Thank you tonight. This is an amazing event, guys. It's very beautiful. Well put together, well presented. Faculty here, students' participation. Well done.
Let's take a picture in front of the photo backdrop. These are yours.
Appreciate it.
Our third inductee is a fellow member of the class of '65, one of Terry's teammates, Richard Rump. A superb bowler who had a 300 game to his credit, Richard's bowling exploits first got him mentioned in the local newspaper when he bowled a 446 set in just 9th grade. But it was Richard's skills on the diamond, the gridiron, and this very basketball court that made him well known at Southwest. Baseball was his best sport as an Eagle, earning him first team All-County honors. In 1965, he caught 2 no-hitters, and he was always proud to remind me of the fact that he called every pitch in both games. After high school, Richard played at Miami-Dade Junior College. He later served on our Hall of Fame committee until he passed away in October. Richard was one of the nicest guys you'll ever want to meet, and our committee misses his ever-present smile and good nature. Here's some photos of this Eagles great, Richard Rump. To accept Richard's award tonight, please welcome his widow, Linda Rump.
I want to share a few things with you this evening. From a young age, Richard dreamed of being a baseball player. He was an all-around athlete, and he loved playing all the sports, lettering in all the sports, and he enjoyed bowling as well. Let's just say, being an Eagle was the ultimate for him. Yes, and being named All-City catcher was an achievement that he felt he made the school proud of. And like any high-level athlete, he trained hard, and as a catcher, yes, he scouted the competition to call pitches, back when the pitchers called their own game. And he would often tell me, you know, hon, I only had 2 dates when I was in high school. And that's because I took my dates to baseball games. So the word got out and I never had another date. And I said, oh, honey, that's okay. Anyway, Richard did go on to play baseball for Miami-Dade College while being recruited by the White Sox, but that was short-lived due to the Vietnam War. He received his draft notice and enlisted in the United States Air Force. That's where we met. I, too, was in the Air Force. He was a patriot. He loved his country and was proud to have served. He retired from the Air Force as a senior master sergeant. He graduated from Florida International University, where he earned a degree in business and dedicated 38 years to Florida Power and Light, finishing his career as a system operator in power delivery. Richard loved coaching our sons and grandsons' baseball teams, building a bond With the boys, he especially enjoyed keeping score in the dugout, using the time to encourage and foster their love for the game. In addition to his professional achievements, Richard also made significant contributions to the community. He helped start Eve's Hope, a clinic that helps families. He was our champion. I am part of Eve's Hope. He served as a leader in the church and taught in the kids program until his passing. Those who knew Richard agree that he was a joyful and encouraging man. Above all, he was a family man, and most importantly, a man of faith. He was known also for his yellow Mustang and his bowling. Richard touched those around him, and I'd like to read a letter I recently received from a mom who heard Richard's passing from during a Sunday message in which he was commended for his faith. In her story, she describes the impact Richard had on her family. And I believe this story epitomizes my husband. Dear Mrs. Rump, my name is Monique, and I am a member of Christ Fellowship Church. I have met you briefly a few times in person through CF Kids, and I wanted to reach out to express my sincere condolences on the passing of your husband. I was shocked and deeply saddened to hear of his passing this Sunday. I have felt such a strong desire to share the profound impact he had on my children's lives. I have two sons, Kenneth and Caleb, and they loved your husband dearly. Mr. Rump was Kenneth's fifth grade leadership teacher and instilled in him so many meaningful lessons about what it means to be a Christ-centered man, lessons that are so greatly needed in today's world. My younger son, Caleb, who has autism, was very fond of Mr. Rump. He connected with him in such a genuine and loving way, and it brought me immense joy to see that bond each Sunday at pickup. Your husband had a rare and beautiful ability to make everyone feel seen, special, and feel deeply loved by God. One Sunday, he shared his testimony with me about how he came to know Jesus, and it was incredibly moving. I feel truly honored to have known him and to have had my children share such special moments with him during his time on earth. He was such a remarkable gift, and our family feels incredibly blessed to have been touched by his life. Just 2 weeks ago, my boys and I were talking about how we hadn't seen him in a while, and we were wondering how he was doing, hoping he would return soon. My greatest regret is not having the opportunity to fully express to him the impact he had on our lives. I find comfort in believing that one day I will be able to share that with him in heaven. I know there are countless others who experience his kindness and influence, and I'm sure you know just how extraordinary he was. Still, I felt called to reach out and let you know how deeply he meant to our family. Please know that you are in my prayers during the season of loss. I hope to live a life as faithful, loving, and Christ-centered as he so beautifully did. With heartfelt sympathy, Monique. And I can't tell you how many people have said the same thing to me over and over again about the impact that he had on their children's lives. We taught fifth grade boys. And so Richard's life was truly well-lived. Ultimately, what mattered most to him was being a man of faith who shared the message of hope. He made a lasting impact on others. As Richard's family, we are proud of his accomplishments. His faith and his recognition is a tribute to the man we love. His life continues to guide and strengthen us. Thank you.
Our committee voted in one athlete from the decade of the 70s, swimmer Dave Marsh, class of 77. Dave is still an active swimming coach and is out of the country now he asked that we delay his induction till next year. We have 4 inductees from the decade of the 80s, starting with 1981 graduate Dane Johnson. Dane was a 3-sport athlete at Southwest, starring in track, baseball, and cross country. Basketball, not baseball. How great an athlete was Dane? Between his sophomore and junior years, he went to the AAU Junior Olympics in Bozeman, Montana, and finished 6th in the decathlon. It was only his 3rd decathlon meet ever. Dane earned a basketball scholarship to Biscayne College, now St. Thomas University, but skipped his senior season when he was drafted by the Blue Jays in the 2nd round, despite having never played a high school baseball game and pitching only sparingly in college. Dane pitched 3 years in the majors for the White Sox, the Blue Jays, and the A's, and he is now the pitching coach of the Omaha Storm Chasers, the AAA affiliate of the Royals. Sadly, being the end of February, it means that Dane is at spring training and not with us tonight. Please direct your attention to the video screen as we remember the career of Dane Johnson, followed by some remarks that Dane recorded for us.
Hello, Southwest. So honored and humbled to be in front of you tonight and to be inducted into the 2026 Sports Hall of Fame. So many great memories of time spent with friends, classmates, teammates, and coaches at Southwest. Sports played a huge part of my life and still does. Growing up in a challenging sports atmosphere at home and following behind 2 older brothers to Southwest set the tone, and I thank them. And to my mom and dad for all the sacrifices and gave me all the love and support needed along the way. The ages of 16 to 18 are very impressionistic and impactful on a young man. And I was fortunate to have coaches at Southwest like Bill Sullivan, Tom Moore, and Fred Ellis that looked after us, brought structure, discipline, and patience, held us accountable and responsible, and most importantly, they cared. They taught us about hard work and teamwork, dedication, toughness, perseverance, and provided us life lessons along the way that left an indelible mark. It set a future foundation, and in my current position, affords me to be able to continue to pass some of those life lessons along to players of today. And I'll never forget my basketball, track, and cross-country teammates, and the names of faces of so many others along the way. So much fun at games and meets, great times on and off the court. We competed when the gun went off, and the whistle blew, and laughed along the way almost until we cried. Thanks for being a part of some of the most unforgettable and best times of my life. Thanks so much for including me within this great class of athletes tonight and in the past. So proud to be an Eagle. Go Southwest.
Dane's basketball coaches at Southwest are here with us tonight. Please welcome our former head basketball coach, Bill Sullivan, and his JV coach at the time, Tom Moore.
Yeah, I was honored when Dane called me a couple of weeks ago and said, could I please say a few words about him at this event? And I was honored to do that. I am honored to do that. I was his coach his junior and senior years here at Southwest. That was 79 through 81. At 6'4", he was a tremendous athlete and a wonderful person on top of that. Dane's dad, Don Johnson, now not the Miami Vice guy for you older folks, but Don Johnson was a tight end at the University of Miami, and he was the athletic director at Miami Edison. I was the JV basketball coach at Miami Edison, and Don said the coach is leaving Southwest. Would I consider applying for a job, which I did and got it, and so thankful I was able to spend a few years here. I asked Dane the other day, does he have any favorite memories about being here at Southwest and playing basketball? He said, yeah, he had 3. He said, Southwest hadn't beat Columbus in years, and our first win of the season was at Columbus, and then we beat them when they came here too. So he was proud of that. Also, he mentioned Killian High School. They had a bunch of D1 basketball players, and right here in this gym, we beat them here, so he remembered that. And the third thing he mentioned that was stuck out in his memory was we had a Saturday morning practice, and that door opened back there, and some guy looked in, and he started walking fast to about mid-court, and then it looked suspicious. And then a female police officer came in right behind him and said, I need him, catch that guy. And the next thing we knew, the whole team, that guy sprinted out that door, the whole team ran after him and pinned him down out there in the courtyard till she handcuffed him. And I guess he was a car thief. And now, it turned out we got headlines in the Miami Herald, and the police chief came and gave us a certificate and everything. But I was thinking later, I said, what if that guy was armed? The headline would have been 2 Southwest basketball players shot at the school. So I'm glad it worked out wonderful in the way it did.
I would have been head coach quicker than I did.
Exactly. Now, as you know, Dane played for the Chicago White Sox and other teams, but how did he get into baseball from basketball? Well, when he played at Biscayne, which is now St. Thomas University, on a basketball scholarship, a lot of his buddies were baseball players. So they went to the Dade County Youth Fair, and they had a pitching radar booth there where the baseball players, let's do that and see how fast we can throw the ball. So Dane let them throw it, and he said, why don't you try, Dane? And Dane threw over 90 miles an hour. And so they said, they kept feeding him balls. He said, I kept throwing and throwing. They went back to St. Thomas, or Biscayne, and told the baseball coach, and said, you need to take a look at this guy. So the coach the next week got a catcher out there, and Dane threw, and that's kind of how he got into baseball. And he gave up his second year, as he said, to sign with the Toronto Blue Jays. And he pitched in the majors with the Chicago White Sox. But Dane loved the University of North Carolina. He said, Coach, I'd go as a walk-on, anything. Can you write a letter to UNC and see if I could be a Tar Heel? So I wrote the letter, and I got a letter back from Dean Smith. I'll finish with just reading this. Dear Coach Sullivan, thank you for your letter and recommendation of Dane Johnson as a potential student athlete at the University of North Carolina. I have made note of your letter and passed this information along to my assistant coaches as well. We will be checking with people in the Miami area about this young man in the near future. However, we just recently had a commitment from a 6'4" guard forward student athlete from the state of North Carolina whose name is Michael Jordan. Michael is an outstanding prospect and someone who will contribute greatly to our program. We were really not seeking another 6'4" player at this time, since we never want to over-recruit at any one position in our basketball program. Hope your season's off to a great start. We appreciate your letter and recommendation. And I remember when I got that letter, I said, I'm sure this guy Jordan's a pretty good player, but he can't be that much better than Dane. But yeah, he turned out to be a little bit better than Dane. And one other footnote to that, Michael Jordan, when he retired from basketball for a while, he tried out for baseball. And he was in the farm system with the Chicago White Sox. In spring training, Dane and Michael met. And he said he was proud or glad he got to meet Michael Jordan. But it's funny how those paths crossed. Dane says thank you, and he's much appreciative. Thank you.
I'm speaking for Bill and myself now. What an honor it is that a young man like Dane Johnson remembered us 45 years after he graduated. We're definitely humbled and honored to represent him tonight. Thank you.
So as I said at the beginning, we customarily induct this honorees chronologically. But apparently there is a volleyball tournament in Orlando this weekend that several of our inductees had to fly from there here. Their plane got in late due to weather, and I believe the tournament continues tomorrow, so we're gonna skip ahead and then come back to the 80s. Our next inductee from the class of 2003 is Julio Arnaiz. Julio earned 6 letters at Southwest in football, volleyball, and soccer, but is best known for his skills on the volleyball court. As a senior, he was not only the Miami Herald's Boys Volleyball Player of the Year, but also MVP of the FHSAA tournament as he helped the Eagles to a 31-0 record and a state championship. Afterwards, Julio was honored with the title of Florida's Mr. Volleyball, emblematic of the state's top player. He played 3 years of volleyball and soccer at Division II Mount Olive College in North Carolina and finished up his college career as a defender on Barry University's soccer team. He is, to the best of my knowledge, the only male athlete at Southwest to play 2 different sports at the collegiate level. Julio then went into coaching, first as an assistant at Southwest, then as head coach and athletic director at St. Brendan. In 2021, he was named the Herald's Girls Volleyball Co-Coach of the Year at Doral Academy Charter, where he remains head coach. Julio was Coach of the Year a second time in 2023 and a third time this season. Please direct your attention to the video screen as we remember Julio's career. Julio, I hope the peanuts in the flight were good because you missed the dinner portion of the evening. Come on up to the podium, Julio Arnaiz.
Good evening, everybody. Thank you. A little different on those pictures. I had hair, now I have hair here, but first off, I want to thank God for giving us this moment, and I believe there's a reason why we're all here together. I want to thank Southwest Senior High School and the Hall of Fame committee for this special recognition, and truly humbled to be among all these amazing athletes tonight. I came to America in 2000. I came to this high school, to a new country, new culture, not knowing anyone, knowing very little English. And Southwest became a truly crucial part in my formation as a young man. Not only they helped me form who I am today, but they're part of the best memories I still carry with me today. I want to thank all the coaches and teammates I had throughout my 3 years here at Southwest, but especially Coach Diaz and the rest of the coaching staff for volleyball, and our amazing 2003 volleyball team. You guys welcomed me to this team with open arms and taught me that anything is possible with hard work, perseverance, and commitment. That year was truly special for all of us, and every single one of us made that possible. And to this day, that moment is still my greatest personal memory in sports. So thank you guys. As I walk into this gym, I remember a lot of great memories. We still have that spiking, I don't know how you call it, system, I guess. That's where I learned how to hit a ball. Mauricio used to line me up there for hours, and I still remember how we used to warm up in that locker room. Everybody had to dance in the middle, and that's how loose we were when we went into the gym. I used to remember also, we used to scream BAM for an hour warming up. And I also remember how we shave our heads. And we used to win games before coming into the gym just because of how tight of a group we were. So I want to thank you guys, my coaches and my teammates, for those great memories. Lastly, I want to thank my family, my wife and my son that are here. My daughter can't be here because she's in Orlando playing a volleyball tournament. For my mom and my dad, taking me to all the practices, tournaments, 6 a.m. workouts, right? And lastly, my dad that is in heaven watching down. I'm sure you're proud of this moment. He told me one day when he walked into the gym as a sophomore, he's like, stick to soccer, you're not good at volleyball. But when we won states, he told me how proud he was for all the work and who I became. Love you, Dad. This is definitely for you. Proud to be an Eagle. Thank you, guys, and enjoy the rest of your night.
We're going to ask Julio to hang around because we're now going to also jump up in the program what was supposed to be our final inductee, the entire 2003 Southwest Boys Volleyball State Championship team. The Eagles finished 31-0 and won the very first Boys Volleyball State Championship the FHSAA sponsored. They entered the state tournament 28-0, faced Coral Springs in a quarterfinal match. Southwest had little trouble dispatching the Colts in 2 straight sets. That set up a semifinal contest against our neighborhood rival Coral Park. The Rams were overpowered 15-6, 15-11. Later the same day was Southwest against Orlando Cypress Creek for the state title. The Bears were no match for our Eagles either, falling 15-3 and 15-12 in the championship match. That capped a remarkable season in which the team lost only 3 sets the entire year. The Eagles were not only state champions, but they achieved the best record of any high school team in any sport in Florida for the 2002-2003 school year. It was the first state championship for a Southwest team since our boys bowling team took states in 1978. But that was not an FHSAA championship, as the FHSAA did not sponsor bowling at that time. The state tournament was sponsored by the Bowling Proprietors Association. So Southwest's volleyball team actually won our school's first FHSA state title since the boys track team 32 years earlier. This team set the standard for Southwest Eagles volleyball. The program has since won 2 more state championships under Coach Mauricio Diaz and have made the state title match on 5 other occasions. We have with us tonight Mauricio, both as assistant coaches, and all but 2 of our players. Now let's introduce the rest of the team alphabetically. Gentlemen, please come up as I announce your name. Andrew Alisea. Gabriel Alvarez. Jason Fernandez. Love the sport coat, Jason. Kyle Lewis. Adolfo Espina. Alex Skippy Ramirez. Danny Ramirez. Emilio Rodriguez. Wearing his Letterman's jacket, it appears. Jeff Schneider. Chris Suarez. Miguel Vallejo. Unable to be with us tonight are Steve Perez, who's at this moment in the air flying back, and Pedro Pinate. Our coaches, assistant coach Damian Betra, assistant coach Hector Del Valle, and the legend himself, head coach and Hall of Fame member, Mauricio Diaz. Mr. Cunningham, let's get a picture of the group, and then we'll ask 1 or 2 of them to make some acceptance remarks on behalf of the team.
How you doing? Damian Betra, class of 2001, assistant coach with class of 2003 here, state champion. The success of a program can obviously be measured by the amount of wins and losses. Most notable, this program has been very successful over the years. Many of the banners that are hanging in the back there, GMAC championships, regional championships, appearances, state championships, we have 3, and many other appearances there too. However, the success is really measured in the men that have come out of the program and the type of leaders there are in the community. Among them, we have firefighters, police officers, teachers, business owners, coaches that have gone on to other, schools and coached there too and been very successful. And Air Force, Armed Services. So a lot of things to be proud of, and the most important job, which is fathers. So 2 things these guys all had in common. They all came to Southwest and played volleyball. And the other thing is they had Mauricio Diaz. I was fortunate enough to have Mauricio all 4 years as I was a player for him in JV, remember that? And then when I moved on to varsity, was able to be coached by him too. Then he later asked me to come and help him out with the JV team, and we ended up winning an undefeated season in JV as well, and then our championship in 2003. But Mauricio Diaz is really the reason for this. He has followed legacies that have been placed before him, with Ms. Treadway and Ms. Kinea. But I just want to say that hats off to him. I think everybody would say that he's the reason we're all here today and why there's so much success in South Florida with volleyball. Thank you.
real quick, I just want to thank these guys. And it's really weird to see them as grown men, by the way. I haven't seen some of these guys in 10, 15, 20 years. Super proud of them when they were playing, and more proud now that they're fathers and they've reached out to a lot of different areas in the world. This team was built over the years. Damien just touched on something. He played for me, and then Hector played here as well, Del Valle. And we came all together, and then everybody here sacrificed so much, not just hair, but they sacrificed a lot. And so they became kind of like a legend. You know, they cut their hair. We went around the county. Everybody was terrified. Officials didn't know who was who most of the time. But they had a lot of pressure. These guys sustained a lot of pressure throughout the year. They had most of the county was out coming to see our games and cheering against us, obviously. And then we had this burden of Southwest and a state championship. It'd been so long since Southwest hadn't had a state championship. So Karen Cohn, who was the athletic director, just before states, dropped off the track and field state trophy in the office there and showed it to me. And so I was like, we have to win this. So, you know, we went up there with a goal, and these guys like crushed it. They were amazing. And even though a lot of these guys weren't, you know, volleyball players per se, they just had a tremendous heart, and they cared so much about each other and about the program and about the school. And I'm to this day, one of my proudest moments as a coach and as a person. So I want to tell them in front of everybody, thank you so much for doing that. I appreciate you guys. You set my career off to an amazing start, so I appreciate you guys.
Our next inductee is from the class of 1986, Francisco Paco Rojas. I had a feeling that was an applause line. Paco was a three-sport athlete in football, wrestling, and track. He played linebacker and defensive back for the Eagles and went on to play collegiately at Valley City State University in North Dakota. But it is his coaching career for which he is best known. Paco started coaching at newly opened Braddock High in 1990 and became the school's head coach in 1995. He served as head coach through 2015, winning 3 district championships. He moved to Reagan Doral High, where he won the school's first independent league title in 2024, a win that was the 100th of his head coaching career. 12 of his former assistant coaches and players have become head coaches. A 2010 Louis Bing Award honoree, Paco has served as National Combine Director for the Navy All-American Bowl since 2013. He's also Director of Operations for Football University, which puts on over 50 showcases and camps every year. Let's look at the video screen as we recall the career of Paco Rojas. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome our next Hall of Famer, Paco Rojas.
Look at that, bro. Oh, I'm gonna go quick, all right? I'm gonna go quick, because these guys are giving me a hard time back there. First, let me start off thanking the committee, Mike. So truly blessed and honored to be even mentioned among some of these names. You know, when Mike first called me, I was blown away. And I kept on telling him, "Hey, I just want you to know, I'm truly, truly honored for this, and I will not miss it." Of course, the date lands on a date in which I had to do a football camp this morning at Pace. 6 o'clock in the morning, I got to be at UM tomorrow morning at 5 to run another event with 250 kids with Football University. And my two bosses are here kind of nudging me on, telling me to hurry up over here, that I got to go set up over at UM. But truly honored and blessed. Thank you for the committee. Definitely want to be involved in helping out with the committee. I spoke to the principal. Anything I can do, I can give back. My wife won't let me coach, though. Just letting you know. But that might change. You never know. Behind every good coach, they always say that saying, you have an even better wife. To my beautiful wife back there, Angie, for putting up with all those hours. You know, and we have a son that's autistic. And for any of you who have an autistic friend or child yourselves, they're golden. Really taught me a lot in life. For coaches, it's probably the best therapy there ever is, because every time I would get home, even after a terrible loss, he'd be so happy to see me, regardless. It's like, all right, game's over. I can't even think about the game. You know, I got to take care of John Anthony. To my beautiful wife, thank you again. Love you guys so much. My amazing sister and brother and dad, they're over there. Dad's in heaven. I've got to make sure I hurry up because my brother has a bad habit of imitating me. So I'm going to try to speed this up because it's going to give him more material as he's over there already imitating me. I'll get back to my mom at the end. To my Southwest Eagle family that's all here, you know. To my teammates, stand up to my teammates. Jack, everybody stand up there. Here's my teammates from '86. Jack that came down all the way from Oregon. I got Marty and Pam, of course, Marty, the rock of the family, of the Eagle family, right? And Pam came down from the Carolinas. I got Mark came down from Detroit. Guys traveling to come down here. I got Butch coming down from Orlando and Johnny leaving a cruise ship to come down here. Can't thank you guys enough. To my West Coast family, of course, my roommate from college, I got John Myers. I can't forget John Myers, who belongs in this Hall of Fame. Came down from Tennessee. John Myers, a phenomenal defensive lineman and wrestler here. Thank you, Johnny and Missy. My West Coast family that's here, Steve and Quinn and Eric and Mary Ellen. Steve Quinn was my college roommate, and Eric Richards, they're the two owners of Football University that got me involved with Football University and gave me the opportunity to become National Combine Director 13, 14 years ago. And still going strong. The minute I retired, they got me on full-time as ops director and running camps as head coach and stuff. To my dear friends that are here, you guys know who you are, so I'm trying not to miss anybody. Mesa and all my other friends that are here, of course. Mesa's a Core Park guy, so we won't hold that against them. Okay, BB and my classmates and stuff like that. To my new family from the Carolinas, you know, Roger and Christy, who have kind of kept me going since I retired. I've been on like an 8-month retirement party with them. So they've really been taking care of me. So every time we have an event, he's always inviting me on his boat and on these trips and saying, "This for your retirement." And I'm like, "Roger, I've had like 7 trips already, you know. Thank you again. Love you guys so much. To one that's not here, one of our teammates, to David Laura, who was one of my best friend as little kids. We played Optimus together. We lost David Laura years ago, but he's still in my heart. We talk about him all the time. He's still my guardian angel. I still wear number 22. Like when I choose a plane seat, I choose 22. You know, everything in his honor. That shows you the Eagle family and the power of the Eagle family. There's nothing like it. There's nothing like it. To all my former assistant coaches, of course, and all my principals, I believe 7 principals, 7 athletic directors, fellow co-workers, teachers, office employees. You know, you're only as good as your support staff, you know, and I've had some incredible principals and athletic directors. To my former players in attendance, all right? Guys, these are guys I haven't seen in 35 years. Thank you for believing in me. Thank you for your commitment. You don't understand, when I saw you guys walking in here, the joy you guys brought me, man. Love you guys so much. Thank you. Thank you for starting my career, man. Thank you for starting my career. To my other best friend that's here, Tres Palacios, I know he's back here somewhere. Thank you, man, for always being there by my side. To 3 teachers, thank you for shaping me. Dave Kendall, Coach Menendez, Cheryl Golden. When I tell you, you know, how I became what I became in terms of my, you know, my teaching methods, you know, my coaching methods, it all started with you guys. You know, Cheryl Golden was a phenomenal teacher and athletic trainer, and I would always go to her when she became the GMAC director. Where's Cheryl? Where's Cheryl? Cheryl, we almost became billionaires with recruitflix.com. Almost. Huddle ended up taking that over. But Cheryl got me started. I actually invented RecruitFlix before Huddle, just so you guys know, but we'll talk, that's a whole nother story. Love you guys so much, Angel, man. Dave Kendall, that's here, came down. I called Dave Kendall right away when I got the notice. I said, man, I would love, you know, I'd be honored to have you here. Never forget learning defense from you, you know. When you started teaching health, he would give the assignment, and then he would call me up to the desk. Hey, Frank, we're going to run this defense. We're going to run. I'd be up there. I said, you got it, coach. Let's do it, you know. To 3 other mentors that are not here, that was with me at Braddock, my brother, man, my mentor as a beginning teacher, and one of my assistant coaches, Peter Royal, who passed away a couple years ago with stomach cancer. And then to go back to 2 more teachers that really influenced me from Southwest, that both passed, PJ Cunningham and RJ Harper. When I tell you that started with RJ Harper, because they were both my coaches, but RJ Harper I was also in his class, and we'd talk football, and him and Angel Menendez used to take us on this famous camping trip that we won't talk about, but let's just say you can't do that nowadays, all right? But it was me and the girls' soccer team and coaches canoeing down Peace River for 3 days or 2 days. Harper and Cunningham taught me so much. I'll give you one story, and then I'll end it who I'm going to dedicate this award to. Tell you the type of person Cunningham was. You know, when you do grad night and you park all the buses, and the teachers will know this, and students that have done grad night, and you start, when you unload those buses, they all start, you know, going towards, you know, the park, and there's thousands and thousands of kids and buses. And here's the type of person Cunningham was. There was one kid that was disabled, that could barely walk, and he gets left behind. walking towards the thing. So we stopped with him, and me and Cunningham are chaperoning the grad night trip. And Cunningham goes, "Are you okay?" "Yeah, coach, I just got to rest against," he's holding the tree and everybody's going. So Cunningham picks him up and puts him on his back and takes him all the way to the entrance of the park. We put him on a wheelchair and we stayed with that student the entire time. That's the type of person PJ Cunningham, that's the type of person RJ Harper was. They were both amazing people. So thank you to them. And then I'm going to dedicate this award to the one who made me who I am, and that's my mom. We lost our mother a couple years ago. We were blessed because she was alive till she was 95, still living in the same house. My mother's the one who taught me how to grind. All right? She's the one that taught me how to grind, how to have faith in God. We couldn't miss church on Sundays. My mom cleaned houses for a living, would still get home and still cook and still clean and still get us up for school the next day for peanuts. So we always made sure that we're not coming home with bad grades, and I'm going to do everything I can to make sure that she doesn't have to pay for me to go to college. My mother was our guardian angel. She was so amazing. And right into the very end, she always said she wouldn't let us take us out of her house. She stayed by herself, at 94 years old, still taking out the recycling bins, and we're like, "Mom, be careful, you're gonna fall." But she always said, I'm gonna go to heaven from my bed to the sky. And that's exactly how she went, nice and peaceful. So to Mom, this is for you. I hope I made you proud. Thank you, guys.
And even though Paco coached at other schools during his career, he still cares about the Southwest Eagles, because I can tell you, my friend Matt Leone and I broadcast Southwest football on Facebook Live, and people can comment during the games on Facebook. And during one of the games, there was a Francisco Rojas this year that was commenting on the game, and I asked, "Are you the Paco Rojas that used to play here?" And sure enough, it was him watching Southwest football on Facebook. And I guarantee you he wasn't scouting our players for the U.S. Navy All-American Bowl. That's for sure. Our next honoree is from the class of 1987, Stephanie Nunez. Steph transferred to Southwest for her junior year and immediately made an impact on Eagles athletics. As a junior, she earned second team All-Day for softball while also playing basketball. In her senior season, Steph added badminton to the mix and was named first team All-Day in softball after batting .525 and playing in the Florida All-Star game. She went on to play college softball at Miami-Dade South before returning to Southwest as a science teacher and coach. Steph served as JV basketball coach and recorded an undefeated season, and assistant softball coach before becoming head softball coach in 1995. Her 1999 team won Slamfest, the top tournament locally, and finished 20-10 after losing a 14-inning game to Sunset in the regional quarterfinals. Let's direct our attention to the video screen as we remember the career of Stephanie Nunez by watching the video that Stephanie Nunez made for all the inductees. Please welcome to the podium our newest member of the Hall of Fame, Stephanie Nunez.
Good evening. As Bobby Brumfield said, I was going to try to get up here and just wing it, but I probably would have forgotten everything I needed to say, so I wrote it down, so bear with me reading off a piece of paper. Good evening. As someone who has walked these hallways, played on various teams, taught in the classroom, coached hundreds of athletes, and proudly served the Eagle Nation for over 36 years, this is a very special moment. Standing here tonight, being inducted into the Southwest Miami High School Sports Hall of Fame alongside these incredible inductees is truly humbling. Southwest has meant so much to me, and I loved every single minute that I spent here. First and foremost, I have to thank God. I truly believe He ordered my steps and placed the right people in my life exactly at the right time. That started with my parents, who are in heaven tonight. I'm so grateful for the many sacrifices, the lessons, and trust me, my dad had a lot of lessons for my brother and I. The discipline, he had a lot of that too. And especially their love. Everything I have accomplished started with the foundation they built for me and my brother, who's here tonight. I'm truly blessed to have had such great parents. Another one of those people is Coach Moultrie. You still hear Moultrie? There she is, right there. Miss Moultrie found me playing softball at Glades Corey League right down the street. She brought me to Southwest and she gave me an opportunity that changed my life. I will always be grateful for that belief and that chance. If it were not for Coach Moultrie, it's very possible I would not be standing here today. I also want to thank Cheryl Golden. Not only did she look out for me when I was a student here at Southwest, but she was instrumental in bringing me back home after I graduated. She hired me as the assistant softball coach and the girls' JV coach, girls' JV basketball coach, and then made sure that as soon as I completed my teaching degree, I had a teaching position here at Southwest. Later, she entrusted me with the role of head softball coach. Because of the opportunity she gave me, I wasn't just coaching, I was able to pour into students every single day in the classroom as well. Her belief in me changed the course of my life, and I will always be grateful to that. Thank you, Cheryl. There are so many more people I could and should thank, as I have spent more of my life at Southwest than anywhere else. From the many teachers who shaped me, like Mr. Menendez, my history teacher, my government teacher, sorry, who's here tonight. Miss Black, my 11th grade history teacher, absolutely loved that woman. And Miss Killens, my 12th grade English teacher. Every day, Miss Killens made us write. She had a prompt on the board, and she made us write a 5-sentence paragraph, and I hated it. I'm a terrible speller. I'm a slow reader. English has never been my best subject. But every day, my buddy Ahmed over there, he can attest to it because he was in my English class, we wrote that paragraph. My first day at Miami-Dade Community College, I had English 1101, and we walked into the class and the teacher says, all right, we're gonna write a 5-paragraph essay. I was like, are you kidding me? Prompts on the board. So I sit down, I write the 5-paragraph essay, I'm done, and I notice nobody else has gotten up. I'm like, what's going on here? So whatever, I get up, turn it in, walk out the door, and I said, thank you, Miss Killens. Because if it wasn't for that lady, forget about it. So anyways, I don't even know where Miss Killens is. I don't even know if she's still with us, but if I could tell her, I would love for her to know that. Also, to my coaches, like Miss Treadway, who wanted me so badly to play volleyball, finally got me in the gym. I told her I couldn't play. She didn't believe me. Nunez, get out of the gym, she said. Coach Ellis, my basketball coach. I also want to thank Miss Rosa, who's no longer with us. We lost her a couple years ago. She was my mentor, teacher, while I did my student teaching here at Southwest. I would never have been the teacher I was without that woman. She was amazing. To my teammates here at Southwest, some of whom are here tonight, Martha, Tammy, Gina, I think, had to leave. Thank you for always having my back, not only when we were students, but still today in our adult lives. To all the principals I've had the privilege of working under, one of whom's here today, Mr. B, he's an amazing man. Thank you for your leadership and support. To all my students throughout the years, thank you for making me feel like I was truly making a difference for the better. You are the heart of why I stayed. To my brother who's here tonight, one of the best people I know. I love you, Ryan. And to my friends who are here supporting me tonight, some of whom I've met right here at Southwest, thank you guys for walking this journey with me. Sports have always been more than wins and losses to me. The lessons I learned playing and coaching, discipline, teamwork, accountability, resilience, were the same lessons I carried into my classroom. I believed then, and I still believe now, that we're not just building athletes, we're building young men and women. The same standard applied whether you wore a jersey or you sat at a desk in my class. And to my daughter, who's here tonight, she flew in just for tonight. She's an amazing athlete too, soccer player. You changed my life in the best way. You opened my eyes even more to how precious each and every one of my students truly is. Loving you made me more patient, more understanding, and more aware of the responsibility we have when we guide young people. Because of you, I saw my students not just as players or pupils, but as someone's child, someone's whole world. Southwest High gave me purpose, relationships, friends I call family, and memories I will carry forever. I loved being an athlete here. I loved coaching here. And most of all, I loved teaching here. Thank you for this incredible honor. I'm proud to be part of Southwest history, and Southwest will always be a part of me. Go Eagles. Is this me?
We have just 2 inductees left. I know it's been a long, hot night, and we appreciate you staying with us. Our next inductee is from the class of '88, baseball and football star Jose Vasquez. An outfielder and wide receiver, Jose batted .453 with 4 home runs, 27 RBIs his senior year. After earning All-American honors at the University of Tennessee, he was chosen in the 42nd round of the amateur draft in 1992 by the St. Louis Cardinals. He reached high A ball before retiring in 1994. Jose went on to a distinguished 22-year career as a strength coach, first with the New York Mets and then with the Rangers, who won the World Series in his final year. He won the Nolan Ryan Award as Strength Coach of the Year in 2014, and he's co-authored a book on baseball fitness. Let's remember, through photos, the career of Jose Vasquez. When you decide how loud you want to applaud for Jose, I want to remind you he's a black belt. Jose Vasquez.
Thank you, thank you. You know, what an amazing night. And, you know, when I think about how I got here, you know, the first thing I tell myself, you know, how did I get here? A friend of mine gave me a Bible verse long time ago that goes, I will see the goodness of the Lord in the land of the living. And when I was preparing for all this, hey, this is what makes me Hall of Fame right here. There we go. You know, as I was thinking about all the things that I have experienced, I don't want to say I did. I want to say I experienced, because this whole presentation, this award is about our experiences. I think she's got a lot more to say than. So when I think about all these experiences and I look back at all the people that I've met along the way, all the people that have supported me, I'm kind of speechless, but I'm gonna wing it. I do like to wing it. That's why I brought her up here. First, I want to thank my wife, married for 32 years. And without her, I would have quit many times. Anybody that's coached or played a sport, you know that you want to quit just about every day. But you got to have someone in your corner that's always going to pick you up at your best days and your worst days. Second, I want to thank my parents who taught me the power of prayer. Without their prayers, I would not be here today. My in-laws and my other in-laws, it's an inside joke, but they're just family. They've taught me the value of family, the love for family, getting together through thick and thin, all through the years, no matter what's going on. If I was going to a tryout in Georgia, they were there. If we moved to Minnesota, they were there. When we were in New York, they were there. So they taught me the value of family. To my beautiful children, my two girls, I couldn't be prouder of the women that they've become, wives that they've become, and now the mother that one of them has become. Grateful for my sons-in-law, because their prayers, their answered prayers. I prayed for them even when my girls were born. It's okay. Better? When my girls were born, the first thing I did was pray for their husbands. And now, years later, we're here. My brother and sister always supported me. And my son who's probably right now he's my best. Grateful for my son, because now I get to coach him. And I don't want to say I'm living my baseball through him, but I see the potential, and I'm looking forward to coaching him and spending time with him now that after I've stepped away from baseball to be with the family. Lastly, I want to say to all the coaches, teachers, I want to mention the impact that you guys have on guys like me. And I want to tell you a couple stories. Two stories of Coach Menendez and one Coach Diaz. Coach Menendez, he had nicknames for all of us. So he had nicknames for, I don't know if he's got nicknames for you guys, but mine was Lobster Man. So back in the 80s, in football, they started coming out with the rubber gloves. You know, nowadays everybody wears gloves, but back then everybody come out with those gloves. So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna get me one of those gloves, see if I catch the ball better. I walk in practice, he goes, what the hell are those? And I'm like, Coach, receiver gloves. He goes, all right, tell you what. First ball you drop, you're taking them off. Sure enough, first play, down and out, poof, dropped the ball. Took the gloves off, handed them to the middle linebacker, never saw him again. As a coach, and I've been a coach for a lot of difficult people, and one of the things that it taught me, and I still believe today, is that it's not the arrow, it's the Indian. It taught me that all the gadgets, all the technology, all that stuff, none of that stuff matters. If you don't have it in here, if you don't believe in yourself and your talent and your skill, you're the weapon, you're the athlete. It's not the gadgets, it's not your bat, it's not your glove, it's you. So I always, that stuck with me. The second one, I was always kind of shy, and I was never really prone to, like to get in front of people and talk. Now I don't care, so it's part of the job now, but back then I was very shy. it was our junior year, and I was second string wide receiver. My best friend was 5'7", 125. He was a starting receiver, and I was about this size already. And he gets hurt. We're in the sidelines, and he's running around crazy. Give me somebody, give me a receiver, give me somebody. And I'm just standing there. And he saw me, and he walks up to me, grabs me by the face mask. He goes, Vasquez, what are you, shy? Get in there. And I don't know what that did to me, but it embarrassed the crap out of me to the point where I told myself, you know what? I will never, ever act like that again. And from that day on, I sat in front of the class. I was always volunteering for stuff. I told my brother, tomorrow we're going in the backyard. We're going to practice receiver drills. I'm going to catch that ball. And I went back in the backyard, and I mean, we drilled until the rest of the year. From that day on, I never came off the football field. I was on kickoff returns, punt returns, wide receiver, slot back, backup. I was everything. Why? Because I volunteered. Because that day, it shook me, and never again am I going to act like that. Coach Diaz, just, for nowadays, where the portal and you having to make all these emails and stuff like that, we didn't have any of that stuff. But, I decided I want to play college baseball. And back in those days, we had to get on the phone and call people. So every fifth period, I would ask my geometry teacher that I didn't like that class. I hated it. And I would say, hey, I got to go to the bathroom. I would go in his classroom. Hey, let's go call some coaches. He would leave his class. We'd go to the front office, and we'd call some coaches. And we called enough coaches until I finally got a scholarship with Miami-Dade. And then I went on to play baseball, and the rest is history. So, in short, the value of a spoken word at the right time can make a big difference. And I've been in sport my whole life, and I have a lot of stories, but those 3 stories have made the biggest impact on me. So as I think about this moment, my family, all the people that I've met along the way, I am so grateful because God has held my hand my whole life. Thank you.
Southwest class of '94, baseball great Carlos Castillo. Southwest has retired only 2 uniform numbers in the 70-year history of our school. Number 8 for Andre Dawson and number 22 for Carlos Castillo. While Dawson was the greatest pro player ever to come out of Southwest, Carlos is far and away the greatest high school baseball player ever at Southwest. He still holds the school records for longest hitting streak, career marks for most runs scored, most hits, most homers, most RBIs, most times walked, and as a pitcher, most appearances, most wins, most strikeouts. He still holds our season records for homers, appearances, wins, saves, and strikeouts. Carlos, when he graduated, held other records that have since been broken. As a sophomore, he was 3rd team, not All-Dade, All-State. And as a junior and senior, first-year All-State. He was drafted in the 3rd round by the Chicago White Sox, and after 3 years in the minors, he made his MLB debut at age 21 in 1997. He pitched several years for the White Sox, 1 year for the Red Sox. Please take a look at the video screen as we recall the amazing career of Carlos Castillo. proud to say that I saw every single high school baseball game Carlos ever played, home and away, and I don't know why it took the committee 4 years to induct him. Ladies and gentlemen, the greatest high school baseball player in Southwest history, Carlos Castillo.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you. A long time ago, J.C. Diaz saw me playing at Southridge, and that day changed my whole life. There is no Carlos Castillo without George Diaz and J.C. Diaz, Mandy Pelaez. There is none. They gave me a 19-year professional career. I met my daughter. I had my daughter through my career. Everything that's been good in my life came through baseball, and it's because of those two guys sitting right there. And Mandy Pelaez was not here. You know, I really appreciate them. Southwest was an amazing place for me. I learned a lot of things here. I had a lot of fun. Miss Golden kept me out of trouble because we were rough back in those days. So it turned out to be pretty good. I think it's been a good run. I played in 19 years, pro ball, every country in the world. It was incredible. I went to places I never thought I would go, and it all started here. I've always loved this place, and I always will. And thank you, Mike Rosenthal, for keeping all the records. I appreciate you. Coach Diaz, JC, I love you to death. Ms. Golden, you're the best. All right? I dedicate this to my mom and dad who are in heaven, and they pushed hard, and I missed them every day, and we did it. We made it here. Thank you.
So that brings our evening to a close. A heartfelt thanks again to our gold sponsors, Mertz Law Group and Coastal Construction. You are welcome to take the orchids on your table with you, and to the inductees, please take the frames on your table as well. Mauricio, your frame is right here on Mr. Bullness's table. We would like to ask the inductees to, before they leave, get together here and take a photograph together. And we thank you very much for attending tonight. Volleyball inductees, please make sure you get your polo shirts. Each one's got your name on it there. Each of your awards in the black boxes has your name on top, and each person should take one of those white bases with the remote, which turns your award on. We hope you enjoyed it. We'll return next year for our 5th annual Hall of Fame dinner. Thank you.